Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. Let me do that again before I fire. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. If I can be heard, can I get a 1? Again, this is Rabbi Kefa coming in from home base here in San Antonio, Texas. Let me see if I got the recording going here. Yeah, recording is going. To for your responses, by the way. My desire is for all of you to have a great Shabbat ahead. Let me make sure this recording, it's up and running. Okay, recording is going now. Waiting on Hakohim to, he's going to send me another lecture through his way. Let me look for that. While I look for that, okay, I'll wait on that one. Great. All right, good. Let me see. Great. Well, can anybody tell me what has been going on these past 6 days of labor from what they understand? Anybody want to dive into that? Tell me what's been going on in their world these past 6 days of labor in their nation, in their neighborhood. Anybody want to give some insight? Feel free to do so. We are interactive here. This is a family. This is not a one-way conversation. In order to have a relationship, you must require a two-way conversation. So there must be two persons or two entities or two energies involved. So anybody want to, at this time, tell me what's been going on in their world? Tell me what anything that's been going on these past 6 days of labor that kind of, made you sit down and think for a minute, or made you meditate for a minute, or made you just, really, give gratitude and thanks for, where the Master has brought you, where the Master is taking you, and where you're going now. Baruch Hashem. Any takers? Anybody want to text in anything if you can? I know some of you may be at work, or some of you don't have the ability to text. I get that. Drinking my pomegranate juice over here. I love pomegranates. Atar talks about the sudden death of Kobe Bryant. Yeah, that was truly made me hug Naksha, my little 4-month-old, a little bit tighter. I tell you what, truly put things in perspective for me as a father and as a human being. I don't know about you all, but it really made me look at my life and examine my life. And I would like to say this to Kobe. On the other side is thank you for all of your memories, Kobe. I follow Kobe. A big NBA fan here in San Antonio. We have the Spurs, so big NBA fan. Follow Kobe. Thank you, Kobe, for your memories and thank you for for leaving this world in a better place than you found it. You truly did that. And I want to thank you, and we'll meet again, but not yet. So we give thanks. We give thanks for life. Another thing that I looked at is the importance and relevance of life itself, and how much of a great gift life really is. People don't realize it till they don't have it, but life truly is a great gift that has been underestimated and has been kind of, washed under the rug because of bills and health issues and all these other factors that really, at the end of the day, have no relevance when it comes to your life itself. Being able to breathe, being able to get up in the morning, being able to eat from a spoon and not from a tube in your stomach, being able to literally breathe on your own and not with a machine. So all of these, being able to walk on your own 2 feet and not use a wheelchair or not walk at all. So, the little things in life that we take for granted mean so much more. But we need to take the time to see these things. Yael, woman of the tent, talks about the coronavirus hitting the U.S. Yes, the coronavirus has not only hit the U.S., but it's hit everywhere. It is everywhere, Mishpachah. Lion Princess talked about Brexit Day, UK. 2 confirmed cases in the UK now. The coronavirus explosion. Yes, that's all important as well. And I do have some breaking news information and instruction from the Kohen that I will pass out here. In just a few more minutes, I want to give some other folks time to turn up. probably best to mention it now and then mention it at the end of the lecture, so that way the folks that come in later for whatever rhyme or reason can also get the instruction as well, opposed to having to go listen to the video. Oliver, vive la France. Shabbat shalom to you, Oliver. So I think it's very, very important that we take heed. You know, our Parsha, if you read our Parsha this week, is dealing with both. And I think it's very apropos, you know, because what is it? Let's go there for a minute. It deals with Exodus, I think it's Exodus chapter 10, if I'm not mistaken. In my studies, it's Exodus chapter 10, right? We deal with both. And I think what I want you all to see here, which is, I mean, my goodness, how the alignment of the stars and the sun and the moon that bring this about is, you know, we're dealing with, you know, plagues. As in our Parsha as well, the plagues were coming to an end. Or what's another word for end? Could I say completion? Right? Now, when we look at Exodus chapter 10, I think this might be very instructional as well, as you understand and continue to understand that everything in life ties together. Yeah, Bo, it's Exodus chapter 10. Matter of fact, starting at verse 1. Now, can you really tell me, in that study of, how many of you in here study numerology? How many of you are students? Put up a capital N. If you're a student of numerology, maybe you're just, you know, you're cracking it, or you're beginning to. Anybody in here study numerology besides myself? You study the importance of how numbers can speak. How many of you believe that numbers can speak? Numbers can speak. It's a language to it. It's a speech to it. Okay, when equal, it does study numerology. Now, Rebecca as well. Shabbat shalom to you, Rebecca. There in sunny California. Loves your class, Yahudi. Listen, for you numerology students, what does the number 10 mean to you in numerology? The number 10. What does that mean to you? The number 10. Any takers in there? You might want to consult your numerology pamphlet on some of the meanings of these numbers that can go deeper. There you go, Oliver. Completion. Complete. And when we look at this time in our history, we look at the Parsha Bo, is that the plagues and the smackdown was coming to a completion. So do you see how it all ties in? Now, you got to understand, when the scrolls were written, they didn't have like chapters and verses to them. You see, these things were added later. But do you see how numerology, it kind of all fits and ties into the whole circle of life and the circle of energy and the whole universe? Do you see what I mean? This is like not by happenstance. It's just like, because this is, Exodus chapter 10 and coming to a completion, we'll call this 10. You know what I mean? They only sit there and think about these things like that. But do you see how the spirit of the Abba, can have his hand on anybody? Believe that. Not just you, the special family of Jacob. The spirit. Now, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Because I've seen the spirit in animals, meaning the Chokmah, Mother Wisdom. I've seen it in Christians. I've seen it in Catholics as they come and talk to me. How many of you have received a golden nugget of wisdom? Maybe you had a question and you got it from somebody that was a Catholic, that was outside of our way of life, and they gave you such wisdom and they gave you such great instruction. Anybody in this room besides myself? And you're like, wow, where did that come from? You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting that to come from this person. You know what? But it did. Sometimes it'll come from children. To Doctor, your responses, by the way, for you listening via YouTube, it's not just me. It's several others in this room. It'll come from a little child. It'll come sometimes from your wife. Most of the time, to me, it comes from my wife. She'll give me instruction. I'm like, oh, goodness, where did that come from? You haven't cracked the scroll. But where did that come from? It comes from the Chokmah. So the Spirit of the Most High, just like we see in the beginnings, flutters over the face of darkness, flutters over the face of the whole world, and can touch anybody at any given point. in any given instance. And so what I want you all to understand, and even myself continue to understand from this, is that don't discount. See, because a lot of times, whatever you're seeking out, or maybe you just want a word, or there's something in your life that you wanna pin down, and you want clarity on. Don't discount the wisdom that have come from these other sources out there, from people outside of a rabbi, outside of some family member in the way. It can come from anybody, even from your dog, your donkey, if you have one, your horse. You'll get that revelation. You'll get that revealing that you need. And a lot of times, go back and examine this. A lot of times you may have already gotten that, and you continue to ask heavens for, clarity, and it's already been given, but you've discounted it because it's come in a form that you didn't expect. You know what I mean? So when we come up on this, our Parsha bow, and dealing with completion of the smackdown and of these plagues, you see how real plagues are, Mishpah. How many of you have seen footage inside of China of what's going on? Anybody? You like Google or some coronavirus on YouTube, and you actually see footage of what's going on. Anybody? Put up a V if that's you. If you like, you looked at a video and you seen like, man, this stuff is serious business. And it reminds you of plagues, right? And it took me back to the plagues that were put on Egypt. And I looked at this and I was like, wow, man. Hakoyi sent me a video of one man. He was just standing there in the street because, China has cameras everywhere. So he was just standing in the street like he was guarding his building or something. And he just flopped. He died. He fell down. I mean, he just flopped and he was dead. Just like that. Just like that, Miss Bahar. Just like that. You all are lights to the world. I've been watching, responses that's coming in with the death of Kobe Bryant. How many of you know of Kobe Bryant? Put up a capital K to honor his name and to honor what he left for. Anybody know of Kobe Bryant? You may not have seen him. He may not have sat down and supped and had dinner with you, but you know of Kobe Bryant. And so I'm looking at all these responses that have come in for Kobe Bryant. And a lot of people saying, oh, he's gone too soon. He's gone too soon. He's gone too soon. I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. He's gone too soon. Oh, I'm shocked. I can't believe that he's gone. Can't believe that he's gone. No, not Kobe. He's still alive. I want all of you to understand something, as I continue to understand, is that we are but light to the world. Inside the family Jacob and out. Because how many of you would agree with me? A lot of great people have done great things for this world and left the world in a better place than what they found it, and they were no way near Jacob's family than beings in Australia. You know what I mean? So everybody has some kind of flicker of light, some kind of spark, because we're all energy at the end of the day. And remember, we all come from the Creator of all things. I always want you all to remember that. This is why I don't want you to discount how energy will come back to you. It'll come in the form of a pet, plant, or people. Think about that for a minute. So I want you all to understand that you are, see yourself as like this candle. Now, how bright you shine, I don't know. But when your light goes out, it goes out. We can't control when our light gonna go out. Everybody's, gone too soon, go too soon. But is it really gone too soon? I mean, let's look at the great things that this man has done in 41 years. Most people don't do in a lifetime. The man's published. He wrote children's books. He was writing, arguably one of the greatest Lakers that ever suited up in a Laker uniform. Anybody in this room published? Anybody in this room wrote a child's book, which I think some of us in this room have the talent to be able to do that. We can write some great stories. about our history. Luxury class, the facts on the ground about our history. And put it in children's book form. Think about that. So that way that the facts can really get out there. And with children, you can do it such a subtle way. You can make it fun. And the report coming from the children that read Kobe Bryant's books is that they were all, you know what? Thank you, Kobe, for leaving us with this. Is that he always tells people, hey, dream. Have dreams and dream. Dream. I tell that to Knock Sean. I got him this quilt for his bed. We go and has dream written on it. Dream. Don't stop dreaming, Mishpahah. Dreams are a very important part of your imaginative side, your imagination. Dreams. How many of you are dreamers? I don't dream that much, but when I do have dreams, they're vivid, they're real. That 3D HD quality, like really real. But I don't dream that much, but I have a lot of imagination. My imagination takes me to places where I'm going to go and that I'm going to be now. Imagine, dream, Mishpahah. This is so important. We look at the coronavirus, and I do need to put this out. So, this is from the Kohen. You need to get pen to paper. It's going to be very, very important. Pen to paper. You're going to check the refrigerators. Now, the virus, just like I think it was Jael 1 or 10 said, it's now here in the U.S. as well. The coronavirus is spread. Now, Mishpahah, you are the lights to the world. Don't panic. You shouldn't be in panic. You should be at peace right now. And the instruction I'm going to give you from the Kohen is going to put you at peace. It's going to give you peace because this instruction is going to require you to deploy and take action. You listen to via YouTube as well. It's going to be very beneficial to you as well. Now, when you get this instruction, hang on to it and tell everybody around you to do the same thing that's willing to do it, okay? Don't take this information and hold it to yourself. You're the light to the world. So this is a great opportunity for you to be that light. For family members, friends, and loved ones, everybody that you know around you, lottie-dottie, tell them. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of these folks are running around right now in fear or worry or anxiety. Oh, the virus is in America now. And they've seen what's going on in China. And they think the reenactment of what's going on in China is going to happen in America. Be of comfort, be of good cheer, and be of good comfort. That's not happening. It's not going to happen that way. So these are the things that you need to do. This is an instruction from the Kohen. Take heed, take it to heart, and put it in action. The first thing that he wants you to do is make sure, how many of you have any kind of form of onions in your house? Onions, put up a capital O. You need to get, after the Shabbat, you're going to have to get some onions. Now, matter of fact, even with the onions, you're going to have to start eating and incorporating onions in your meals daily if you don't already do that, which I do. But if you don't already do it, and it doesn't matter what kind of onions, it could be yellow onions, red onions. I like red onions. I'm a big red onion fan myself. But yellow onions will suffice as well. Now, what you're going to do with these onions, now listen very closely. Number one, you're going to incorporate onions in your meals every day. Number two, does anybody know the power of onions? I'm getting ready to tell you. Onions, what they do is they absorb bacteria. Okay? This is why onions are important. Now, how many of you know inside your gut, there's a lot of bacteria in your gut that breaks down your food and all that? Yeah. So, again, this is why it's important that you eat onions. Onions are great. Smell great. I like to smell onions. Red onions are I love red onions. So make sure you get you some red onions. Not red onions, but any kind of onions. Yellow onions, white onions. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to take that onion and you're going to cut it. You can cut it in fours. I would. And you're going to deploy that onion throughout your house. Put it in a little bowl, a little dish. Leave it uncovered. And place it, like if you have a two-story home, place it in some areas downstairs, like in the kitchen. Strategically place it like maybe even close to your doorway. Place some in your bedroom, in your children's room. How many of you have already done this? How come you told me this a long time ago? Do this, and I did it. And what it does is, after a while, you'll see that onion will turn black. How many of you actually seen that? So when it starts to turn black after you deployed it and left it in the place for so long, Now, what you're going to do is, make sure you have it in the kitchen as well. That's one of the key places. And in your living room, because that's the place where most people, kind of congregate, and in your bedrooms as well. So you just cut it in fours. You don't have to use a whole one, but you can take a whole one and cut it in fours and deploy it. Put it in a little dish or something, uncovered, and deploy it throughout your house. And when they turn black, you want to dispose of them, because that's like biohazard stuff there, because it done absorbed all the bacteria, right? So you want to take it and put it in a couple of, grocery store sacks, tie it up real good, put it in the trash. And then redeploy this again. And keep doing it this way, okay, Mishpachah? That is instruction from the Kohen. Do you see now the benefit of having the Kohen in the gate? You see? So that is the instruction from the Kohen. Employ the onions, yes. Whole onions, not the green onions that come, but we're talking about whole onions. Deploy this method. Now, tell others, tell your family members. I know, luxury class, I saw you. Tell your family members as well, and your friends to do the same thing. Those that take heed will be protected. Those that don't won't. Okay? This is protection for your home. And if people will run around in fear, this will truly give them some great comfort. And all in the form of an onion, while they're saying, it's going to take us years to even get this, particular counter agent to this coronavirus out for us to get a medication on shit. People don't have time. They don't have time for all that drama. When it comes in the simple form of an onion. Instruction from a Kohen. Now do you see the value of the Kohen in the gate? Great instruction, right, going forward. So make sure that you ensure that you deploy this method. Now, I'm also a big fan of turmeric. You may want to also, this is from me, you may want to also look at putting some turmeric into your diet as well. Into your, don't put it in your cereal, but you can definitely put it in your dinner meals. Add a little turmeric to it in your gravy or something, and start ingesting turmeric if you're not already doing it. Turmeric, whatever name they want to give it. Start using that as well. That's going to help you. As well, I'm a big fan of neem. If you don't have neem, get you some neem. You can make some great teas with it. Get you some neem, N-E-E-M. Get you some neem. That'll help you out as well. Build your system up. These are all herbs. This natural stuff here, man. Let Mother Earth take care of you. Don't let the pharmaceuticals do it. See, you waiting on the pharmaceuticals, you're going to be waiting for a while. But Mother Earth is instantaneous. Okay? So let's get back to Mother Earth. So if you need to go to the grocery store, you need to get over there to the grocery store, do what you need to do. If you need to tell your friends and family members to do these things, initiate and tell them to do these things immediately. Send out text messages, do what you have to do. Those that, really want to protect their homes, they'll do it. And, this is just science. Onions for bacteria. Wow, what a win-win. So incorporate the onions in your cooking, and you'll do yourself a great service as well. And Kohen implored me, told me to tell you to always remember that you are Israel. You live forever. You will stand. While other people drop and fall to the wayside, Israel will stand. Israel is forever. He told me to make sure to tell you that. Be strong and be strengthened, Mishpachah. Don't run around here in fear and anxiety and worry. Be at peace. And give peace to those that are around you. Like giving them this method to deploy to help them and aid them in their time of worry and anxiety and fear. What is fear? Fear is what? When people don't understand something, they fear it. And they don't understand the coronavirus. They had people, I don't know if you follow the stock market, but the Corona beer stock market the Corona beer stock took a fall, took a hit, because people thought it was the beer, the Corona beer. Oh, I can't drink a Corona no more, so people are afraid to drink Corona. You see a fear. See what fear does? And I thought about that, and I was going to buy some options, and I was like, man, let me buy a put on this and make some quick dollars off people's fear. Look at the stock market. Any of you follow the stock market? Look at what happened since this coronavirus came up. Man, the stock market is dropping. I think it was Friday, 600 points. My goodness. and gave back all the gains of 2020 and some. Because of fear. Because of fear. Because of not understanding something, so you fear it. Because of not understanding something, so you hate it. You see, and it shouldn't be that way. But we are the answer to the world. Go out and use this instruction that we've been given by the Kohen to be an answer to the world. Because for us Jews, for us Israelis, the mission is already complete. It is complete. It's complete. Now it's time for us to get in that process and to put ourselves in the mindset of action mode. To do what we're instructed to do, because we don't know what to do on our own. Am I correct? We don't know what to do on our own. But with the instruction of the sons of Aaron, we know exactly what we need to do. We're Israel. And that's been our pattern throughout our history. It's to follow Israel. But I'm noticing as soon as it's to follow the Kohanim, as soon as I begin to tell folks Israel, wandering Israel out here to, hey, come under the fold of the Kohen, I get crickets in the room. Or they don't want to talk anymore. Because they don't want to hear about no Kohen in the gate. They want to serve Yah. I'm like, my goodness. You can't serve Yah without the Kohen in the gate. Could the Hebrews follow the God of Israel without Moses and Aaron? They couldn't do it. They were ragtag complainers. And if it, you know who was the glue that kept the Hebrews together during that time? As they going in circles. Aaron and Moses kept them together. So it's that same model. Israel's running around here without no glue to make them stick together. Because they don't. Many folks don't want. You all know this. You are witnesses and watchers yourself. How many of you know somebody that used to be here that's not here anymore? Anybody? Anybody in this room, you know someone that used to come to this forum that doesn't come anymore? It's because, that's what it's going to be. You're going to get people, that they'll come for a minute, but then they won't stick. They don't want to be connected to the glue. They don't want any glue. They just want to be out there flapping in the wind somewhere. They want to do their own thing, and that's fine. If that makes them happy, so be it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over them. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm going to sleep well at night. Because I know where my rescue is. I'm already rescued. Rabbi Zakar says, I know a lot of them. I already have rescue. What I need to go out there for on my own for? Susceptible to being devoured by wolves. I already know. I already know my it's already planned and planned and planned. So this is what we have to look at and examine going forward. Let's see if I can come up with a lecture out yet. This is what we have to look at and examine going forward, Mishpahah. It's already complete for us. So don't sit around here worrying. Don't sit around here in anxiety. There's no need for it. Well, there's just totally no need for it, Mishpahah. But so now that your light, your candle is just burning at full capacity, totally illuminating, now you need to go out and share it. This is why I want each of you to at least go out and say, I will at least tell one person about the onion method. To deploy the onions, to soak up the bacteria in their homes. I will at least tell one person. That's what I want. That's the mandate I want to put out today to the family. Because you're a light to the world. Don't take your light, like the master said, and put it in the closet. Don't do that. As you all know, we live in a real world. I mean, this stuff in China is not staged. I mean, people are dropping like flies over there, Mr. Harvey, literally. The house that I have in China over there now with the wife and daughter and son now and dog, that whole apartment complex is infected with the coronavirus. And they're all on lockdown. They're all on lockdown right now. That whole building that we have that. I think we're on the 26th floor of a 80-something floor building. That whole building is on lockdown. You heard the story about the boat, the cruise ship? One person, I think it was one couple on there from Hong Kong. They came up positive. They quarantined the whole ship. Did you hear about that story? Go Google that one. They quarantined the whole ship, Miss Bob. So do you see how this, coronavirus is in China, but do you all see how it's affecting the rest of the world? Infecting and affecting the whole rest of the world. Because why? Luxury class, people run around in fear. You see? People are running around in fear. Somebody need to get the email to that ship and say, hey, y'all start deploying some red onions, yellow onions, white onions. Start deploying them so it can soak up all that bacteria. Attract that bacteria and soak it all up. Line Princess says 7,000 people on lockdown. See, that's real life, Mishpahah. That's real life stuff. These are people's livelihoods being affected, Rabbi Zakaria. Think about that. Think about it. If China's on quarantine, who's making the parts for the iPhone? Do you see how it has a trickle-down effect? That's why we have the strongest economy in the world, but even it's affecting us because, again, we don't live in a bubble, Mishpahah. This is a great lesson for us to understand. We don't live in a bubble. We're human beings, luxury class. Oliver, we're human beings. We all have to coincide and get along together. That's the great design of the creator of the heavens and the universes, Mishpahah. Did I tell you the story that my wife told me about the man? Did I tell you this story? The man in China, there's a shortage of face masks in China. But do you know the coronavirus can go in through your eyes? Did you know that? So even if you got a face mask on, it can go in through your eyes. Did you all know that? Anyway, there's a shortage, right? There's a shortage of face masks. So what this man, look at this entrepreneur. Did I tell you this story right? About the entrepreneur where he would go in the trash cans and he would take the old face masks that they would discard. He would clean them up, repackage them, and sell them again. You hear that, Shane, y'all? This is what's going on. Entrepreneur till you die. I think I told y'all that story. But again, I just had to retell that story because I'm just shocked and amazed about how people are using this, situation to make money at the expense of lives, man. You putting on somebody's old nasty mask that they already worn, you re-cleaning it and you reselling it. And people are buying it because people are running in fear because they think the mask is going to save them. They think the mask is going to save them. And then how many of you know fear can come in many forms? Fear can come in many forms, and it'll begin to present itself in different ways. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You can either become depressed behind fear. You can either become anxious behind fear. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You can either become angry behind fear. How many of you people that get fearful and they just get angry, and they just turn into this beast, and they just turn into this some person outside of themselves because they're in fear, and that's where fear takes them. Some people is just the opposite, polar opposite. Some people, when they get fearful, they run right to the bottle. They may run right to the marijuana, whatever they do to calm themselves down, to come out of their fear. Well, folks, it's anxiety or depression what they run to. And they get depressed and they'll seclude themselves and close themselves in. We live in this world, Mishpahah. We may not be of the world, but we live in this world. And we all have to learn how to get along with one another and help one another through these kind of times. America has offered great help to China, but China is just barely opening the door to the help that America wants to offer. I mean, we have loads of these face masks that we could give, but China's only opening the door a little bit, not opening the door all the way fully for the nations to come in and give help, humanity to come in and help your fellow man, to help a brother, sister that's in distress, that's in depression, that's in anxiety, while people are just dropping like flies. So, these are some things that we have to consider. Consider your life this Shabbat. Consider the relevance and importance of life. Because life truly has relevance. And life truly does have importance to it. It really does, Mishpah, when you look at it at the end of the day. Now, I would just like to hear from the family. Like, what was your response to the coronavirus? What's the first thing you thought about? I want to get inside your mind. I want to get inside your subconscious. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what was the first thing that you thought about? Because again, you can take this and you can parallel this back to Egypt. Now, Bo is the completion of the smackdown on the Egyptians, but could you put yourself in the Egyptian shoes during this time? When all these plagues are coming about you, and you lose your firstborn son, your firstborn animal, male, animal, you lose them, and you're like, but what do you think they were thinking? Just like I asked you, what are you thinking? This is why, luxury class, there were a lot of converts to the way of the Hebrews. Because they were like, man, if this power could do this, I'm rolling with this power. Now, some of them did it, luxury class, out of fear. Because they realized, I don't understand how they could do it. You have the mixed multitude. Now, because you got to remember, a lot of Hebrews stayed in Egypt. They didn't come out. And our history tells us that the children of Israel came out, and the strangers that were among them. Remember, it always talks about in our history, the strangers that were among them. That's that mixed multitude. You see, because the master, Yahweh, only wanted to take the covenant people out. That's covenant people, come with me, everybody else stay to yourself. But then Moses stepped in and said, no. There's a lot of good people in the world. I'm paraphrasing. But I'll say the same today, and I'll tell all of you as well, as students of the Kohen as I am, is that there is a lot of good people in the world. A lot of good people in the world. That just don't understand. But if fear brought them to an understanding, then so be it. Fear of the smackdown of these plagues brought them to understanding, and so be it. Brought them closer to power, then so be it. The power, the creator of all things, then so be it. Yael, woman of the saying, when I heard about it, I was nonchalant until I saw the video. Oh my goodness, yes, you need to watch some video. When Iku said Psalm 91 came to my mind. You know what came to my mind when Iku? Psalm 23. Baruch Hashem. Because we're going to stand, Israel. We're going to stand, Shane-Yah. We're going to stand, Abrahu. We standing, Adelia. We will stand. We will stand. And not only we will stand, we will prosper, and we will help others to stand. And I'm going to extend my arms out to help others stand up. This is such a great opportunity to do great things for humanity, Mishpah. At whatever level. We're going to stand, Mishpah. We're going to stand for our way of life, and we're going to stand for humanity, because we got to stand up and help others. So I can hear Moses saying this exact same thing. He's like, wait, Abba. He's like, wait, Abba, we just can't leave all these people. Look, these people saw what you just did to their country. And they're on board, luxury class, flying princess, they're on board. They was like, we're going to take, what are we going to call this, flying princess? We're going to call this, we're going to take, Egypt exit. This is what they said. Instead of a Brexit lion princess, lion king, they said, look, we're going to take an Egypt exit. We out of here. We saw what your power did to our great nation. we're on board. Mixed multitude. There you have it. Mixed multitude. But then when the fear wore off throughout, the journey, then they started to show their true colors, luxury class. They went back to who they were really, which is, Egyptian through and through. You see? They bleed Egyptian red. You know what I mean? But that's what fear did. Fear drove them to a point of making decisions. And that's what history is all about. History is about a circumstance that happened, an experience happened, an event happened. But more importantly, here's where history is written. Is how do you react to these particular instances? That's where history is. How many of you understand that you're writing history right now? You're writing history right now as we speak. You're writing history right now as we speak. So I would encourage all of you to go out and tell everybody you know, your friends especially. See, here's a way where you need to open your mouth and tell them to take action. And they say, wow, you're not afraid. Why, you not worried about what's going to... aren't you worried about your 4-month-old baby's going to die too? I ain't worried about all that. Man, my baby's covered. My baby's under a covenant, man. And I have onions in my house. At the end of the day. I'm not worried about all this mumbo-jumbo. Now, like our Queen said and instructed to us, is that we do need to take precautions. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You do need to take these necessary precautions. Now, here's the next one that he also stated as well, is that all of you, we should already be doing this already, but here's what you do, is you're going to take a little container, and you're just going to put any kind of salt in it. It don't have to be Himalayan salt, because I cook with that salt. Don't have to be pink salt, because I cook with that salt. But it could be your regular old iodine salt that you can get for 99 cents at the Dollar Tree, or wherever you go get it. Take some salt, put it in a container, and set that in your house. Preferably in a family area, and leave it there for a month, change it out, and do it again. Can anybody tell me why salt? Think about this for a minute. As we're dealing with our Parsha, and we're giving instruction on why we put the blood of the lamb on our doorposts. Think about this for a minute. It gets deep. We're starting to get deep into some Torah now. Why salt today in 2020? Anybody just, anybody want to take a shot at it? There's no wrong answer in this for all you family. But why would our Queen instruct us to take salt and put it in a container and put it in our house, in our homes, in a familiar area where you can see it? I'm going to give you a hint, as a memorial. Think about this for a minute. A memorial to what? Luxury class is a purifier. Stop for your response, luxury class. Anybody else? Respond. Put on Hebrew hat. I tell you what. This pomegranate juice is awesome by Palm. If you haven't drunk any pomegranate juice, get you some. Antioxidant, superpower. My goodness. I love me some pomegranate juice. All right, luxury class says purify. Protection. There you go. All right. Any other takers? Any other takers? Why? Why would we put, them pomegranate, I'm telling you. I'm making pomegranate wine over here, luxury class. One day, luxury class, we're going to sit down and we're going to drink pomegranate wine together. I'm telling you, we're going to do it. One day. Coming up soon. We're going to do it. We're going to all sit down. We're going to be invited. We're going to sit down. We're going to come together. And we're going to reason together. We're going to sup together. And we're going to fellowship together. And I'm bringing some pomegranate wine. And we're gonna sup together. Really. Luxury class, I might actually move to Texas. Hey, come on, luxury class. If that's a part of your scripting, come on. You can have more than one location. I plan to. For some reason, Utah is coming to my mind. Utah, Florida, Texas. These are my places. Utah, Mishpahah. You might want to look into Utah as well. Put me up a base in Utah. I'm going to put me up a base in Utah. Utah, Florida, and Texas. This is what's coming to Rabbi Kefa's mind. This is what I'm scripting, you see. So I would encourage you now, back to the salt situation. Why? Because remember, what does our history tell us about salt? What are we told about salt? The Master says that we are the what? We are the salt. Salt, remember, we're salt. Preservation. Somebody talked about it earlier. What does salt do? It preserves, right? It cleanses. That's what we are to the nations. So it's a memorial to us, for us, and by us. Sounds like FUBU. It's a memorial. So we're to keep this salt to remind us, I'm the salt of the world, baby. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to purify this world. I'm going to purify this coronavirus. I'm a purifier. I'm not a virus. I'm a purifier. Baruch Hashem. Always remember, when you have those low points, because you will. But right, Simha, just because you have those just because you live in the valley don't mean you have to be in the valley. Baruch Hashem. That's where you live. You live in the valley. And right, Simha, the valley has its great points to living in the valley. But just because you live in the valley don't mean you have to be in the valley. Baruch Hashem. You're on top of the mountaintop. But whether you're in the valley or on top of the mountain, always remember, you have these moments in your life where you get weakened. Always remember, be strong and be strengthened. And remember that you are the salt to the world. So our Kohen said, take some salt, put it in a container, and once a month, dump the salt out and refresh it. Any kind of salt will do. As a reminder to you of who you are. You look at that salt, remind who you are. It's so very important that we do that in our homes. This is for our homes. It's not for Joe Blow's home. So you don't need to go tell Joe Blow to do this because they might not consider themselves a salt, as a purifier, as a cleanser, as a preserver. Anybody watch them old Western movies? Or just National Geographic movies like in old days? What did they do with salt? They would take, what did they do with salt when they put it on the meat? What would it do to the meat? When they just salt it down. You remember? Do you remember that? I used to watch all these movies, especially here in the younger days here in America, North America. You see the Native Americans. They would take salt and they would just throw it all on their meat. I'm like, man, what the heck they doing? They gonna make this meat nasty. They were preserving that meat, that deer. They just killed that buffalo. They were preserving it. Anybody seen that besides me? Yael woman said, oh yeah. So you are a preserver, luxury class. Yael woman 10. You're preserved, man. You're preserved. Just like I do with that wine. I preserve that pomegranate wine. Man, I preserve it. I have my little cannon bottle. Oh man, I let that wine sit up, ferment. I preserve it. Put some dates on. My wife does, man. She taught me how to do all that. I date it so I can keep track. My wine. Man, I tell you, pomegranate wine. I tell you. My wife perfected that for me. She taught me how to do it. I was like, wow. She said, you can make wine out of this? I said, no, I didn't know that. Honey, show me. Please show me. please show me how to do that. So, this is who we are. We're preservers. And we are preserved. This is why I instruct all of you, and even myself, is to tell somebody. I tell you, as soon as I finish this lecture, I'm going to shoot some emails to my friends and family members and acquaintances. Say, hey, man, you might want to do this for your house. What are you doing? I don't really care, but I'm putting this out so you can do it to protect yourself. And do you know what kind of witness that is? They were like, wow. Oh, Joe Blow just sent me a text saying, do this, honey. Wow, I didn't think Joe Blow even cared about me. If your name's Joe Blow, no offense. But I didn't think he took the time out of his day to send me a text. Wow, he's really concerned about me. Light to the world. Man, I didn't think that dude Sally even cared about me. And now I get this text from Sally. She really cares. She's trying to look out for my family for me. She's trying to look out. So she's telling me to put these onions on it. You see, this is example of light to the world on display. On forefront. It's not about some mumbo-jumbo, mamby-pamby scriptures. Oh, he quoted this scripture to me and blah, blah, blah. Do you see the difference between living and life? This is totally a great example of the difference between living, having life, and living. Get it? I hope you all, this is what You were made for this time to do great things for others and yourselves, by the way. But you were made for this time. Oh, Rabbi, I got Hakoy's lecture, so all fired up. Got it, Hakoy. Are you here? I saw him flash in here. Did you see Hakoy flash? He did a flash. Okay, yeah, he left already. Let me send him a text real quick. Yeah, got it. Got it, Hakoy. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's so very important that we do understand this. This right now, we're doing more, let's just say, study of the Word. The best way I'm going to put it. Right now, we're doing more study of the Word. And we haven't even cracked open one verse, have we? But we're doing more study of the Word right now. Why? It's because we're doing the doer of the Word part of it. You see? Yeah, got it. Got it. Got it, Akohim. Got it. Tada. Yeah. Yeah. So right now we're doing more, you see? Yeah, I understand. Got it. Yeah. Oh, about the onions? Okay, yeah, I got you, Simha. I know, because you in the valley, Simha? Yeah, I got you. Especially. I want you to tell all your friends living in the valley with you as well. It's to take an onion, doesn't matter what kind. This is instruction given from the Kohen. Doesn't matter what kind of onion. It could be red onion, yellow onion, white onion. Doesn't matter. Take one, cut it in fours, right? And place it. Now, why onions? Is because onions absorb what? Bacteria. Bacteria. Onions absorb the bacteria. So you want to take this and put it in a container, open container, and place it strategically throughout your house, especially like your bedrooms, common areas where the family may congregate together. The kitchen is a great place to have it. And then when the onions turn black from its absorption of all the bacteria around it and in your home, then you dump them out, dump it out, put them in a couple of HEB bags or whatever your local grocery store plastic bag is, and put it in the bin. Okay? That's the instruction. Somehow, did you get that? I want to make sure you get that, because I know you're in the valley down there. Sometimes your signals get kind of shady. I want to make sure you get that. And make sure you tell your friends as well, somehow. Your family members and friends, your special loved ones and ones that you care about, to do the same thing. To do this same thing. Now think about this for a minute. With the instruction that the Kohen gave us with this. Now, imagine, right, we're back in Egypt. Imagine that we're back in Egypt. Signing out, okay, Kohen, Tada Rabbi, and shalom to you over there. It's probably pretty cold that way as well, Pakistan. Yeah. Look forward to you coming back this side of the pond. Baruch Hashem. Tada Rabbi. Kohen in the gate. So I think it's very, very important that we do understand. Now, can you imagine if the same process was played out in Egypt, and some of the Hebrews would have said, hey, man, look, you've been a good Egyptian to me. Look, take some of this lamb blood and put it on your post. Can you see the same thing happen? Do you see the relevance? Do you see? Yeah, put it on your post. And you tell them, hey, put this on your post. It's going to save you. It's going to save your family. You see? Baruch Hashem. HaKohen says Yahweh will never let Israel down no matter what virus hits the world. Oh, indeed, HaKohen. No matter what virus. Because again, we're already preserved. And we're life preservers. And we're already preserved. Mishpahah. No need to run in fear. We're going to run in the faith. We're going to run in the way. And we're going to run in the peace of our ancestors. And the peace of our ancestors and who we stand for. Baruch Hashem. It's our way of life. I mean, we're covenant people. We're covenant people. Could be covenant people as well. But look. Right, luxury class, everybody is coveting this way of life. A lot of people have adopted this way of life and coveting this way of life. We're covenant people and we're covenant people as well. Baruch Hashem. So we sit in these nations, not being haughty and high, but being humble and meek and helpful and happy, but being helpful to these nations. This is truly a great example of how we're going to let our light shine. I'm going to get ready to cue up our Kohen's lecture because I want him to get in. But I want you all to understand this. It's so very important and relevant. Do you see the pattern that's being played out here? You and I can save people's lives. Literally and figuratively as well. We're lifesavers, Mishpachah. How many of you see yourself as a lifesaver? You are a lifesaver. Whether you believe me or not, you have saved someone's life. Spiritually or, literally saved their life. I tell you, somehow, you start telling your friends in the valley about this onion, it's going to awaken them. They're like, wow. How come my doctor didn't tell me that? You got this instruction from a priest of Israel, from the family of Israel, to help you save your life. Do you not think more people will be more receptive to our way of life because we're helping them? Do you not see this formula? How many of you would say that you are a child of Abraham? Anybody here would say that you're a child of Abraham? Anybody? Put up a capital A. You say, Rabbi, I'm a child of Abraham. Would anybody in this room say, I'm a child of Abraham? Now, let me give you your family member's method. I'm going to give you his method. You know what Abraham did? Abraham would feed people. He didn't care who you were. His doors were open. You come in and you would get fed. Then, if you felt the need, like, wow, why is this man feeding me? He's such a great man. And then if the people wanted to know more, then he would tell you about his power, about who he serves. Do you get it? It's the same way what we're doing today. Because we're children of Abraham, we're going to try to help you. We're not trying to luxury class. We're not trying to force nothing on you like luxury class. Man, I'm not trying to force nothing on my family members. But I'm here to help them. Hey, luxury class, you tell your family members about this? The ones that think you're a whack job? you tell them about it, you're like, wow, luxury class is not such a whack job. He's a helper. He wants to help me. He cares about me. He just didn't say he cared about me. He showed me that he cared about me. He gave me something that's going to help me save my life. There you go, luxury class. Actions. He didn't come to me quoting some scriptures out of the laws of Moses and the Old Testament. He came to me and he helped me. He gave me information to help me save my life. Do you see how powerful this? I'm telling you, doing this is more than reading all these scriptures. For what? What are you going to do reading all the scripture? We'll read our history for what? We making history now. Now that we understand, we making history. We don't have to sit there and just keep reading. Let's read over this Parsha again. Here we go again. No, we need to take something we can take out and apply in our humanity where we're at to help people. To where we're not saying what they said about Kobe Bryant. Oh, gone too soon. Gone too soon. Now, if I got a finger in it and I can help you as the light of the world extend your life, I'm going to do it. Come Shiloh or Sheol, I'm going to do it. I'm going to help you. I've been a caregiver for over 24 plus years. Caregiver. It's in me to care. And you know what? Luxury class, there you go. That's another trait of Judah. Care. They care. They're caregivers. They care about people. They care about the family. They're caregivers, man. They're caregivers. They're like shepherds, man, that want to make sure all the sheep are tended to and care. Don't care what color the sheep look like, luxury class. You're going to care for all the sheep. Baruch Hashem, I give thanks to the Creator, the heavens and the universes, to the God of Israel. You see, this is where rubber meets the road. If you come in for goosebumps and scripture quote, man, I ain't got time for all that mumbo jumbo. I'm out here trying to be a light to my nation and make my world a better place. And while there's parity in the world, I'm bringing peace. Baruch Hashem. That's my stance, Mishpachah. Who's standing with me? Because that's my stance. That's it. I draw the line, man. That's it. That's what I'm here to do. I know who I am. You can't tell me who I'm not. Because I know who I am. You can't tell me who I'm not. But this is. I was born for this. I was made. This is our time. We are now complete. We like the number 10. We are complete. See yourself as the number 10. Remember, guys, we used to, I don't know, do women do this? Did y'all used to put marks on men? Like, men will put marks on, oh, she's a 10. I mean, women, do y'all do that as well? I just want to get some insider information from women. Do y'all say, oh girl, he a 10? Do y'all do that as well? Because I just need to know. I just need to know if women do that as well. Because dudes, man, we do that. Hey man, she's a 10. I give her 7.5. I give her a 9.6. No, we do that. But you all are 10s. You're 10s. You're complete. You're whole. You're happy. You're healthy. You're humble. And you all are hilarious. Because we have a good time together, don't we, all of us? That's what we are. Because we already know our history is already written for us. We just got to fill in the blanks. We know our beginning, we know our end, but let's just fill in the blanks with a lot of great things. And that's why I say, Kobe, I truly honor you. I honor your name this day by telling you thank you for filling in the blanks. I mean, you made some great moments and you left some great things behind. I want to do the same. And that just even encouraged me even more to even leave a bigger legacy behind. Right? To do greater things for my humanity. Well, how far my reach can be, I want to reach it. And I want to go beyond that reach. And I tell it to my son, Nakshan, all the time. I said, son, you're going to do great things for many people. You're going to help people all over the world. You're going to do great things for many, many people. You're going to help many, many people. It's in your DNA, son. That's who you are. It's in your DNA, Nakshan. I tell him that. He's only 4 months. All he does is laugh and do some kudos and goo goo gaga and this, that, and the other. And he yells like a lion already. I'm telling him, Baruch Hashem. I give thanks. I give thanks for being able to know who I am and where I'm going now. I know that. We're successful now. I don't know how you rate success, but you're successful right now. You don't have to go find success. You are successful. You are great. Israel, my family, we're great. Now we're great. We don't have to wait for greatness. We're greatness now. You just have to open up to greatness. You just have to embrace the greatness. Embrace the success. Because it's there. It's there right in front of you. You are it. When you go look in the mirror, you see success. You see greatness. You see completeness. You see wholeness. You see health. You see happiness. You also see humbleness, meekness, compassion. These are all the things that make us up, Mishpahah. This is our makeup. This is Israel. So, as people say they're Israel, I'm looking at more than anything. 90% of it is I'm looking at your characteristics. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at your character traits. That's what I'm looking at. I'm telling you, you all are going to make a mark these next 6 days or later. Because you're going to go out with information that doctors are not telling anybody about onion. You heard about the onion from doctor? You heard about onions from any television show, any news, Fox News and MSNBC? Are they telling you about the onion in your house? Think about this for a minute. Who's talking about the onion in your house? Oh, that'd be the title of a great lecture. Who's talking about the onion in your house? Nobody talking about that. Think about it. Who's talking about the onion in your house, Mishpahah? The Kohen's talking about the onion in your house. Oh, okay, I got his lecture queued up. The Kohen is talking about the onion in your house. You're going to only hear that from the Kohen. You all are protected, and I hope you see the umbrella of that protection is real. You're under the umbrella of the Kohen. Why? It's because you choose to be Israel, family members. That's your choice. You choose to be under this umbrella, under this covering. Because the onions are strong fighters. Yes, they are. When we finish with the lecture today, as you rest on your Shabbat, Google the onion and do some research on the onion. Truly powerful. Truly powerful. Do you know, back in the ancient, during the time of the medieval times, if they would just, I'm thinking about all these plagues, if they would have just ate more onions, they could have staved off a lot of them plagues. But the onion during the medieval times was not a big part of their diet. Think about this for a minute. And it all goes into what you eat, so they say. You know, they're talking about this coronavirus. Do you know how they say that coronavirus started? They say it started by the different kind of foods that they ate, Shang-Ya, over there in China. But Shang-Ya, that's not the truth. That's totally not the truth. And, you know, Shang-Ya, you and I both. Hey, Shang-Ya, by the way, how's your wife's family over there? Are they in quarantine, Shang-Ya? Can you respond to that, yes or no? How's your wife's family doing over there? And your wife, by the way. Because I know my wife, she's a little anxious, and I know that. But she knows, I tell you what, she truly knows that she is blessed. And because guess what? The chances of her getting that virus, if she was in China right now, are very high. Her and my daughter as well. So do you not think they some happy and humble people here in America? Ooh, and grateful and showing gratitude, Miss Farr. The neighbors next door to our house in China, Shang-Ya, they got the virus. Right next door. In the same hallway. They got it. They in quarantine. So if we were there right now, guess what? We'd have the virus. Think about that for a minute. Well, we wouldn't, because, I'm Israel, baby. What a true testament for Israel. I need to do some research on if there's any Jews still left there in China. And I'm pretty sure they are, because there was some when I was there in that area. I guess saying y'all can't respond. But in that area, and I can guarantee you, if they got instruction from the Kohen, and if they're Israel, they're protected, there's nothing going to happen to them. Don't worry. No need to worry. I've done some travels with our Kohen. We've traveled, parts of the world together. I tell you. And, we've been in some shaky, dicey situations sometimes. But every situation, I had no fear. And I knew we'd get out of it. I'll give you one example of this. One time, we had went to Kenya. And we were at this nice hotel, just sitting down out there, drinking some sodas or something, just sitting out there and having great conversation. And the Kenyan police came up and, had their guns and everything, and they came up to us. And they thought we were terrorists. So they came up to us, not in a welcoming way, but they came up to us asking us for our passports, and I don't know, somebody reported us that, because I guess we just didn't fit in, or we looked strange to them. And so, again, luxury class, I'm telling you from experience, people fear what they don't understand. So there was a lot of fear because they seen us in their life. I guess they never seen people like, listen, we're brown people. And then, there's black people there in Kenya, we brown and black people. Come on. We look the same, right? But there was just something about us to where people were fearful of us. So they called the police. Kenyan police came with their guns and everything. And the people that it was me, Hakohin, and, some other people that are no longer with us, that were rabbis with us at the time, and they're no longer here. They're no longer rabbis, they're no longer with us, with Forever-Israel. And everybody got quiet and fearful. But Hakohin, he sat back, he didn't say anything. He was just sitting back. But guess who stood up? Rabbi Kefa. I stood up and was like, hey, so what's the problem? What are you guys doing? They start questioning all these questions. Oh, man, I began to open up, and the words, I can't even remember what I said. But I stood up while everybody else sat down. And I think he was sitting back, he was just watching who was going to do what. And because I stood up, and not because I stood up, but I was the only one that stood up while everybody else was kind of, they were fearful. And my goodness, within 5 minutes, I had diffused the whole situation. Actually passed out some pamphlets of the Master Yeshua. I was like, here you go. This is what we're talking about. Officers were so happy, policemen. They're like, carry on. You guys are doing great work. I'm telling you. But initially, we were supposed to be terrorists. Think about this for a minute. They thought we were terrorists. Before you know it, my goodness, they had befriended us. Wanted to take pictures with us. I'm like, my goodness. Do you see what I mean? I don't fear anything. You can take me into the lions then, because I am the lion. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say that with strength. You can take me to the lions then, because I am the lion. Baruch Hashem. And I give thanks. So while the whole world runs in fear, fear of what? Not understanding, luxury class. We can be the diffuser, like we are the preserver, and like we are preserved. We can be the diffuser. And how are we going to do that? You know how we're going to do that? We're going to tell them about the onion in your house. And that'll give them time. They'll be like, wait a minute. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to help you, because I care about you. And then think, wow, I should think different about you. They don't tell me about this in Sunday church. Pastor didn't say anything about the onion. Do you get it, Mishpahah? This is truly being a light to the nations and saving people's lives. And at the same time, maybe even, you see, again, giving a true testament of our way of life. And for those that want to come in to the fold, you're more than welcome to. This is the opportunity. Not going around there quoting them this, telling them they're going to hell, telling them that they're heathens, blah, blah, blah. There's no need for all that. We're strangers in their land. Do you get it? That's what's important. So do you see why this is so relevant? Because believe it or not, the plague is here. The plague in 2020 is not complete, like we see in bold. But with the plague in this Parsha came the what? Came the protection. I want you all to see that. And as the world's running around here talking about the plague, who brings the protection? But you loyal 19 in the room. And I don't care about numbers, I'm just putting it out there. It's the facts. I see 19 people here in the room. Do you get what I just said? While people are running around here with the plague, who brings the protection? You and I. Because they may be screaming for God, but they need to understand. And they will understand that God comes in many forms, doesn't He? We talked about this earlier. He'll come in the form of you to rescue them, to save them, to be their Savior. To be their Savior, Mishpahah. How many of you are standing with me? And you truly understand what I've been saying for this last hour and 13 minutes or so. Giving you an examples and I'm paralleling with you our history and where we are today. And I'm showing you that the patterns fit. They fit the same. There's plagues today in 2020. Well, where's the protection? Well, back in ancient times, Rabbi, we were instructed to put, Moses told us to put blood on our doorposts. Well, what was the instruction given to us today? Because Moses isn't here, Aaron isn't here, but his sons are. Onion in the house. Do you see the parallel? I tell you, our history just repeats itself. We just have to follow the repetition. Don't try to change it up. Just follow the repetition. Onion in your house. You see, while there's pestilence, there can also be peace. And you bring that, Mishpahah. You bring that to the table. And where there's disease, you bring the protection. And that's so important. I want you all to see that. I tell you, it's humbling to realize how powerful we really are as a people. Not because we are the people, it's because of the God that we serve. The God of Israel, He embraced this people for Himself. And that hasn't been changed. There hasn't been a memo that came out and said, oh, memo 6153, oh, we're changing this up. No, that's the way. That is the way. That is the way, Mishpahah. Any questions on what I talked about? Yahweh Woman of 10 says this way: peace and protection in the midst of pestilence. Oh, indeed. That'd be the title of a great lecture. Yahweh Woman of 10. Indeed. Simha says white onions also clears lungs from beans when put in a pan. Oh, by the way, Simha, I also didn't tell you is to make sure that you cook with onions every day as well. Okay, Simha. And you probably already do this anyway, but tell your family and friends and loved ones as well, is to incorporate onions in their cooking as well. That's the instruction given to me by the Kohen as well. I know a lot of Hebrews already do that. But I noticed that my wife, coming from China, she wasn't a fan of onions. I don't know, Shane Yao, is your wife the same way? She wasn't a fan of cooking with onions. I was like, my goodness, onion goes in everything, in my egg and rice and everything. I put it in my egg and rice, I put it in all of my curries. Oh, gotta have onions. Saute them up real good. Oh man, come on now. No onions. See, she's the same way. She got to start incorporating onions in her diet as well. Love Shane Yao. That's very important. And if you got to sneak them in there to do it, Shane Yao, sneak them in there. Maybe dice them down a little bit, caramelize them up a little bit, and experiment with different ways to do it. You see. Eddie says, but I can't eat them raw yet like Shrek. I'm not there yet either, Eddie. I'm not there. I don't know. Maybe, there have to be sweet onions here in Texas. There have to be sweet onions. I could probably do it with that one. There's a sweet onion we have here in Texas. I don't know. You know that? Have you tried that with my Texans? There's a sweet onion. I could probably do it with that one. I might be able to do it with that one. Somebody's saying the white onion clears the lungs and beans when put in onions in a pan or in a tea. In a pot in a teapot of water to create a vapor. Place a towel covering the head and breathe in the onion vapor. This will clear the mucus in the lungs of the cold and the flu. Wow. Oliver says, I eat them raw. Love it. Oliver, vive la France. So, I think these methods. Any question about the methods? Any question on the instructions? So that way it's clear. Also, Simha, I hope you heard the part about the salt. Make sure you put your salt, institute salt, put it in a container, and keep it in your living room, family area, whatever, and dump it out monthly. This is a memorial. This is instruction for you to remind us all of who we are as the preservers. We were preserved. We are preserved, indeed. So no questions on that. Thus far, right? I'm gonna fire up our Kohen's lecture now. We'll get into our Kohen's lecture, but I tell you, truly awesome times that we're living in. We can go out. I expect, and I'm pretty sure that there will be some great testimonials coming through next Shabbat, if the Master so desires to linger, and I'll see you in Israel. But there'll be great testimonies about what's going on. But by the way, I just want to put this in the back of your mind, as some of you may be studying this coronavirus, and you truly do need to study it. I want you to consider this as we get to remember last Shabbat I talked about where the source come from, the seafood place, it was like a warehouse place. It seems to be there's other opinions out there as well. I will tell you that there's other opinions out there as well, and it's not related to what people eat. And I kind of thought about that. I was like, well, wait a minute. These people have been eating this way for years, so it's not what they're eating, Mishpahah. It's something else. And I won't go into detail with that as of yet, but it's on a higher level. And they're trying to clean it up now. But it's not related to what the people are eating, although they do eat some weird things. They eat some weird things over there. Weird. But again, they've been doing this for years. That's nothing new under the sun, right? And again, there goes, you got to be careful not to segregate. Not all Chinese people eat dog. Not all Chinese people eat bat, snake, all this other stuff. But some of them do. Some of them do. And as you see with this particular virus, it only takes one person to begin to affect a whole bunch of other people. So SARS was the same way. The infection rate was very, very high. And so we have to look at these things. And sometimes we always want to know why, but why doesn't matter to me. If I'm instructed to do something, I'll just do it. I'll worry about the why later. Because I think it's more important to follow the instruction. And again, this is a great opportunity for you all to see, as students of human nature, to see how people are going to respond to the instruction that you give them. Just sit back and watch. See if they do it. Yeah, ask questions later, luxury class, indeed. But apply, and then ask questions later. And then, before you know it, you don't even have to, what I find is that you don't even have to ask the questions, because the questions will reveal, will answer themselves once you apply the action. Anybody notice that as well? It's like when you do something and you're instructed to do, and you may have a question about it, is that once you begin to initiate the action, your question is already answered. You'll find that your question is answered. Oh, that's why. Oh, here's another reason why. Here's another reason why. And then things begin to come together for you a lot more clearer. But if you continue waiting around asking for the why and never apply the action, then, you know, that's at your own detriment. So again, on that note, I'm a fire up Hakohen's lecture, and I think the instruction that he gave us was spot on and truly timely. Need to be heeded for this time that we're in, for this particular period right now, for us to go out and do great things. Of course, taking care of our families first, but then going out and doing greater things and helping humanity on a level that most people miss. And you know, we talk about onions, and it seems like it was so simple, right? Eddie says to the Rabbi Kefa, my apartment smells like fresh onions today because I followed your advice already. Oh, indeed, Hakohen told me. I tell you, I started chopping up my onions, went in the fridge, and I tell you, Pharaoh's smelling all these. Like, Pharaoh wants to eat the onions. I'm like, nope, these onions have a purpose. So again, Pharaoh meaning my dog, not Pharaoh the Pharaoh. So I think these things are so very, very important to understand. I give thanks to the Creator for life, for the extension of our life, and for eternal life. Baruch Hashem. We like baby's kids. We don't die, we multiply, right? That's real. We do. We multiply. We don't die and we don't divide. We multiply as the family of Jacob. So on that note, I'm going to start off Hakohen's lecture. You guys have any issues with it, please let me know. I'm going to cue it up. If you have any problems with it, let me know, okay? And I'll make adjustments.
Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Eltev Hakohen from the East. And I am going to present to you another lecture today. And we're going to be covering the Torah portion, Parsha's bow, from Shemoth, the book of Exodus, chapters 10 onwards. Now, I want to basically, before I do that, let me do the joke that we normally do, and I'll then present you some wonderful testimonies. There was a rabbi who went to the Catholic priest at the church and asked, how do you get the money to make your church so beautiful? Father said, we hear confessions. Observe while I demonstrate. So the priest gets in the center compartment, the rabbi on one side, and in walks the first penitent. It's been 1 week since my last confession, and I have committed adultery 3 times. Father says, for your penance, say a Hail Mary and put $5 in the collection box and your sins will be forgiven. The next penitent walks in and says, it's been 1 week since my last confession, and I've committed adultery 3 times. Father says, for your penance, say a Hail Mary and put $5 in the collection box and your sins will be forgiven. The rabbi says, ooh, can I try? So the priest and the rabbi switch booths. In walks the next penitent. Can I help you, says the rabbi. The penitent says, it's been 1 week since my last confession, and I've committed adultery 2 times. The rabbi says, go out and do it a 3rd time. We have a special, 3 for $5. So, this week some important things took place. I heard the speech that our president in the U.S. made, President Trump, regarding the Middle East peace plan with the Palestinians and Israel, and I went through all of it pretty much, and I thought that was an excellent starting point myself. I thought that this president's really put it out there. You know, he really wants for peace to be in that region, and I thought this was a great start, a great proposal. I really liked his proposal of a 2-state solution. for Israel, where the two states can live side by side. Of course, we know that that's not going to be the case forever. We know that this two-state solution will only be till the Messiah comes. And when the Messiah comes, there will be no two-state, there will be one state. But in the meantime, I think it is important for the Palestinian people to have a state that they can call their own. He gave them East Jerusalem as a capital, and the West Jerusalem being Israel's eternal capital. And I think that was absolutely marvelous, because we should always strive for peace. And as you read our scriptures, as you see the words that the Messiah Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, said, that strive for peace, pursue peace, because that should be a priority in all of our lives, to pursue peace and to have happy homes and to live our life. And I thought, when I heard that speech from the president, I thought he has done what no other president has done to date. Because, most of the other presidents really kind of dilly-dally around the issue, haven't really done anything, said this and said that, didn't really commit to it, and nothing happened. This president is willing to commit $50 billion over 10 years period to give to the Palestinian people, and for them to have 1 million more jobs. And I know for one, because I've been to Israel many times, I know for one that if that happens, many of the impoverished Palestinian people who want peace, who want to live side by side with Israel, they will be absolutely, they will be delighted with this, because they want jobs, they want security, they want happy homes. They don't care about Hamas, and they don't care about, the other groups that are out to spread violence. And one thing I particularly liked also about our president is that he called a spade a spade. He did not go around the issue. He called Islamic extremism what it really is. The Islamic extremism, he said it in the right words, that is, Islamic terror cannot continue, it has to stop. And of course, the Palestinian groups that organize these things, Muslim Jihad, and they do the Hamas thing, and they do other things. And by the way, Hamas means violence funnily in Hebrew. And so all of these things that they do, that they actually need to be stopped and controlled. And this is something that the president called it for what it was. A terrible thing, bad thing for the people, for the ordinary people who want to live their lives, and they are being used as a pawn in this game of cat and mouse. Of course, they'll never win from Israel, because, how are they going to ever defeat Israel? They'll never be able to defeat Israel. But it's just that this continuous, barrage of rockets, or continuous, suicide bombings, or stabbing people in Jerusalem is not going to work. And I think the president spelled it out clearly. Also, I like the fact that he said that you need to stop giving money to terrorists who go and kill the Jews. I think that was absolutely right, on point, and it needed to be done, and it was done. And I'm glad that somebody in these countries, somebody from America, happens to be our president, he stood up and said that, because you do not find these words coming from any other president of the world. No other president stands up and says what Mr. Trump has said, and I think Mr. Trump did a great job. And I sincerely hope, I am certain that from American side, we are ready for, making peace and commitments with the Palestinian people. But I'm not so sure that the other side, the people who are in politics, I know the people in Palestine, I know they want peace, but the establishment, the institutions there, the so-called Prime Minister and President Mahmoud Abbas and people like that, they are not really committed to peace, and they are using the people for their own nefarious purposes. That's the problem. Then you have Iran on this side. Iran has its agenda, and then Iran also at war with Israel in one way or another, or America, and they're using their agenda. And I don't know if you know that they shot down a spy plane, namely American spy plane, last week, that was carrying some CIA agents. And the news was, I don't know if that was accurate or just a lie, The news was that they killed the person who organized the assassination of their general that they killed recently. And so I thought that was interesting. Iran basically made the claim that they shot down the CIA agent who was behind Soleimani's assassination. So that was a little bit interesting. So there is conflict going on behind the scenes. So this is where we are with America and the rest of the world right now. Pakistan, of course, is neutral in the whole conflict. They're not taking sides. They're like, we are neutral. We don't really care. It's your affairs, between America and Iran. You settle it between yourselves. So Pakistan is totally neutral, which is very surprising because generally Pakistan would take sides. Generally they'll take side of Iran and other people, Muslim nations. But this time around, finally, they did not take sides, and Pakistan is totally neutral in the affairs, and nothing is happening here. There's no terror over here. There's nothing, groups chanting or burning flags. I mean, they did originally when Soleimani was killed. Some groups over here came out burning American flags, but right now it's all calm. Seas are calm over here. Everything is great, and I'm pretty sure the Kohen being here has something to do with it. Peace prevails in the nation. The nation hopefully will, get blessed as well as it proposes to do the right thing for the people. So that is absolutely great. Now, on my side, I can tell you, Baruch Hashem, that Yahweh has been absolutely great. I am ecstatic. Things that are happening over here. My time is now short over here. As you know, I'm departing back to home in early February sometime, and so I am here for my last week or so that is left here, about 10 days maybe, and so I'm here, and after that I'll go back to the US and be across the 7 seas. Doing my teachings and stuff from over there. But in the meantime, what has happened is that I met a person over here, a group, a man who came out of a church, and they live in a place in Punjab, which is about 2.5 hours from where I am, and I need to go see them because they've invited me to go to their villages and their city and meet them. And they are basically Torah keepers. Surprise, surprise, right? So they are Torah keepers. They do not follow the New Testament teachings of, no law and no circumcision and no food laws and all of that. They reject all of that. And they read the New Testament, but they follow the Torah, the Tanakh. And I had a chat with the man a couple of times and had a chat with some of the other groups as well. And I came to the conclusion I need to go see them, because they claim that they have other Levites there. So I want to go see them, who they are and what they do, and they've given me some brief synopsis. So what I'm going to do is make arrangements in the next few days. The man phoned me the other night and said to me that we'd like to invite you formally so you can meet our elders over here by before the 4th of February. So I need to be there sometimes before the 4th of February upon their instructions. I'll probably go and spend a day with them. I'm not going to spend a night, but just going to go for the day, spend maybe 4 or 5 hours with them and see the setup and then explain. Because I was talking to them, what do you guys do? And how do you keep the Torah? And I was very interested in learning that, and they explained to me that we keep the 9 festivals. I said, okay. So I said, you keep the 7 festivals plus the 2 additional festivals, being the Hanukkah and Purim. I said, you do those which are additional. They said, yes, we do those as well. We do the 9. They said, we do everything that we know about. They said, we do the 10 Commandments. They said, we do of course, the Sabbath, of course, the permissible food laws, and the marriages. They marry via Torah. And he said that, I said, what about the other things? What about the redemption ceremony? Who does that? And they actually had little knowledge of that. They said the redemption ceremony that I explained to them, and things that need to happen when a woman gives birth, there are offerings to be made on behalf of the woman, I explained to them that these things are still active. Just because there's no temple doesn't mean they're stopped, because you still do these things in equivalence of money. So a sacrifice is really money, equivalence, and you still have to give it to your Levite priest, your priest in the gate. And so they said, the man being very honest, he said, we really are not familiar with the sacrificial system, or how sacrifices equivalence is done, because we don't have much knowledge in that area, but we'd like you to come and explain to us how these can be done. Then we can take those on board and do them as well. In the meantime, they said, we love the law of Moses. We do not believe they do not actually believe in the Trinity either. They are anti-Trinitarian. So they said, we do not believe in the Trinity, three gods in one and all that. And he said that, we, as far as the law is concerned, that is paramount for us, the law of Moses. But we do read the New Testament, but not with the same eyes as the rest of Christianity. They said, we do not see an eye to eye with Paul, because remember, Paul, always comes up in controversies, with his statements in Galatians chapter 5, his statements in Romans chapter 10. So I explained to him that, I have written a book called Paul of Tarsus, the 13th Apostle. I said, it looks like to me I'm going to have to re-release that book, because I had taken that book off the shelves, but I'm going to put that book back out. So I asked one of our faithful members to design me a cover for it, which he has done gratefully. I'm very grateful for him to do the cover, and I will be putting that book out probably as soon as I return to America. That will be going back to Amazon and the rest of the bookshops to be sold, because I believe that book is critical in understanding Paul's statements, in that there are a lot of statements that Paul made that cannot be ratified with the Torah, that have all sorts of problems. So therefore I believe that book needs to go out and be back on bookshelves, so people who get confused with Pauline letters that really have no value. Pauline letters have value only to the fact of history, i.e. they tell us historically what was going on and what kind of things people did. From that point of view, they have value. But if you're talking about doctrine, they have no value for doctrine, and they should not be used. As I had put a statement, which I actually later took out in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, and there was like a small page. And the only reason I took it out is because I was struggling for space. My pages were running out, so I just took it out. I thought, well, people should be, common sense should prevail. Common sense should prevail, and people should not be looking to Paul to answer their questions. They should be looking to Moses to answer their questions. Isn't that what Jesus said? Didn't the Messiah Yeshua said? He said that it is Moses who will judge you. Did he say it's Paul who will judge you? No, he said it's Moses who will judge you. So if it's Moses who will judge you, then it is the Torah, then it is the priesthood, then it is everything else. So I was saying to these people, I was explaining to them that if Paul was so important in the Messiah's eyes, then how come Paul's statements don't tally up? They contradict each other. I said, if the New Testament is so important in the scheme of things that, these people can't live without the New Testament. They have to have the New Testament for, going to the toilet, so to speak, or the restrooms, as Americans call it, or the bathrooms, as the British call it. They can't go to the bathroom without the New Testament. I said, it is not so. Because here is the interesting thing. The Messiah, when he was born, the mother of Messiah, Miriam, righteous woman, when she gave birth, and her husband that was with her, at the event of the conception, what did they do after the month was up? They went to the temple and they gave offerings, they gave sacrifices, they circumcised his baby up, on the 8th day, as was law of Moses dictated. So what did they do? They followed the law and they submitted to the priesthood. Let me make that very clear. They submitted to the priesthood. Even when Messiah did the miracles, when he did the miracles, what did he do? He didn't say, let's go to church on Sunday and let's now start a new congregation. What he did was, he told the people who had been redeemed meaning they have been redeemed from their illness, leprosy. He said, go to the temple and give the gifts that Moses has commanded. What does that demonstrate to you? Does that demonstrate that he put himself above the priesthood or below the priesthood? So these are important questions that need to be asked. Now, John as they call him, John the Baptist, John the Immerser. John the Immerser, at one point, if you note in the New Testament, so we see something really important, that John the Baptist, he was a man from the tribe of Levi. Now, you know that Elizabeth, his mother, Elisheva, was related to Yehoshua of Nazareth, Jesus of Nazareth. She's related to him, family member. And what does he say? He doesn't turn around and say, oh, well, that's it, let's pack up and go home. We don't need to do Torah any longer. He actually sends two of his disciples. He actually had disciples. Do you see what's going on? In the first century, when Jesus, Yeshua, was teaching the people at one side, John the Baptist, a Levite in the desert, had disciples. And the New Testament in Luke chapter 7, verse 18 clearly says, and the disciples of John showed him of all these things. And John, calling unto him two of his disciples, sent them to Jesus, saying, art thou he that should come, or should we look for another? Now, I wanted to point out something very important, which I think is key, and we'll look at it in the NIV, the same Luke chapter 7. We want to look at the NIV, because the NIV, unfortunately, sometimes does a very bad translation. The NIV in 19 doesn't mention the two disciples. Look at what it does. It says, he sent them to the Lord to ask. Verse 19, he sent them to the Lord to ask, are you the one who's to come, or should we expect someone else? You see, almost like it mentions them in the previous verse, 18, not in 19. It says, John's disciples told him about all these things, calling two of them. Calling two of what? See, it tries to obscure. The NIV at times tries to obscure things and make it like it's not, like, John is somebody out there, and it doesn't explain what's going on. You actually can get a better reading in the KJV, and even better so in the Abrahamic-Faith reading, or the Hidden Truths of Break Scrolls Study Bible. So, very important, here John is asking two of his disciples. Now, John apparently, allegedly, now, I'm going to say this as a Kohen in the gate, that I'm a Levite, and I'm from the house of Zadok, and I'm from Aaron's sons. So, what does John the Levite does? John the Levite should be, and he was rightly, a man inspired, a man who was commissioned by God. He was a Levite. He was naturally commissioned from the womb. He didn't have to go to some seminary to be commissioned. He was commissioned from the womb. So therefore, he had the wisdom and the judgment to know if Jesus is the Messiah or not the Messiah. However, the New Testament presents a difficult statement, and the New Testament says the following statements, that he sends two of his disciples to ask the question, are you the one that is the Messiah, or should we wait for another? I thought, when you read that statement, it almost sounds like that John doesn't know, or John is in confusion, because John seems to have confused himself. Is he the Messiah, or is he not the Messiah? So, how come John suddenly, John is the one that baptized Yeshua, Jesus. Who's higher? The baptizer or the baptizee? Or I should choose a new word for this. The baptizer is higher, or the one that's getting baptism? That's a very obvious question that you can answer for yourself. Now in Luke chapter 7, in verse 18, and the disciples of John showed him of all these things, and John calling unto him two of his disciples, sent them to Jesus, saying, art thou he that should come, or should we look for another? Or look we for another? And when the men were come unto him, they said, John Baptist had sent us unto thee, saying, art thou he that should come, or look we for another? And in that same hour he cured many of infirmities and plagues, and of evil spirits, and unto many that were blind he gave sight. Then Jesus answering said unto them, Go your way, and tell John the things ye have seen and heard, how that the blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, to the poor the gospel is preached. Now, where Jesus did not answer directly and said, Hey, yeah, of course I am the one. What are you talking about? He didn't say that. He said, these are the things that I do. These are the things that I do. And he was basically directly quoting verses from the book of Isaiah, chapter 35, verses 5 and 6, which says, Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. And Isaiah 35:6, Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing, for in the wilderness shall waters break hard and streams in the desert. So he was directly quoting from the book of Isaiah the prophet, which everybody understood, and they understood the implications. And from chapter 61 of Isaiah, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that were bound. So, you see, these words, they mean something. They don't mean that he came to give salvation to people. They mean that he came to remove a disease. If a man was a leper, nobody would go near him. He'd be lucky if he was fed. They would put him outside the city and say, Get out of here before we all catch leprosy as well. They put him outside the city, and they would, some soul out there who would be merciful to these people will say, Hey, these people need to be fed. So he'll take food and he'll drop it by their gate where they're all, parked up in a little cave. They're all stacked up together, all the lepers. And that's what would happen to a leper. So healing a leper was a great, great thing. And the Messiah, Yeshua, did that. He healed the leper and he cleansed them and he freed them. So that's the salvation for them, physical salvation. You see, salvation is such a misunderstood term by Christianity generally. They think it's some kind of mumbo-jumbo, airy-fairy, in the air thing. It is not in the air thing. Salvation is not something you get upon death. Salvation is living, what you live with, what you do, what you eat, how you work. This is all about salvation. That is salvation. If you're a slave, and the people in America can tell you about slavery, whose forefathers were slaves. They can tell you what being in slavery is like. Or, the people, when the slaves were freed, they could tell you what freedom is like. People who've never been in slavery, how can they tell you about freedom? So, that's redemption. So people that came in America, later people who came, who, helped to free the slaves. The Quakers, for instance. The Quakers, who are also a group of Christians, a sect that helped to free slaves. They're known for that. Then Abraham Lincoln is known for that. So therefore, these are the people who have to. So what did they become? They became the saviors for the slaves, because they freed the slaves. The same way, the Messiah became the savior for lepers and other deaf people and blind people, because he healed them. So he gave them salvation in the physical form. Nothing to do with airy-fairy, in the air, after you die, wait till you're, dead kind of thing. Because those people that were in the Torah, and if they were lepers, for whatever reason, they acquired this disease, they would still be redeemed, irrespective of whether Jesus came on the scene or didn't come on the scene. So let me be clear with that. So having said that, if they were law keepers, they would still be saved, because they'll be part of the Abrahamic covenant. And having said that, I was speaking to some gentlemen here who happened to connect with me, and I am to go to their place, as I said earlier, and they explained to me what they do, and they explained to me the mainstream Christians, how they hate them, they don't like them, because they keep the law of Moses. Isn't that a beautiful thing, that they love the law of Moses? And they keep the law, and they're very happy people. The man was telling me that he used to control many churches in 2 villages. Now, these many churches in 2 villages, don't imagine a village as just a horse and a cart like you have in America or in England, 1 horse and 1 cart. No, a village in Pakistan maybe has about 2,000 to 3,000 people in it. and maybe 4,000 people, and maybe we'll have 10 or 15 churches. That's a village in Pakistan, by the way. And so he was controlling 2 villages, 2 whole areas in the Punjab region, which probably under him were maybe 15 to 20 churches. And so when he left the church theology of Jesus died for your sins, and now you don't have to keep the law, and we're in the dispensation of grace, and blah blah blah, all of that nonsense, then he said, we lost all our membership. He said we lost all our membership bar 10 families. He said he now has 10 to 15, he mentioned. He said he has 10 to 15 families. Families we're talking about, not, men. 10 to 15 families means you can multiply, 10 times at least 6. 6 members in each family, maybe 8 members in each family. So 10 times 6 is 60. So he has a congregation of about 150 to 200 people. But he's also training people to teach Torah. So he told me that their effort is ongoing. They're teaching more people to teach Torah and to stand up and be counted for the faith that the disciples followed and the Messiah set forth for people to do. So I said to him, that's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely great. And I said, you let me know, when you guys are ready for me, and I'll come over. For me, it's just a hop and a skip. I just go to rent a car over here, like a taxi, and just boom, I go over there. It takes me 2.5 hours to get there, and then I'll ring them, and they'll come and meet me in somewhere in the gate of their place, and I'll be there. So that's the plan. Hopefully, maybe before the next Shabbat, I'll be able to see these families, meet them, and break bread with them. And I think that'll be wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that. So that basically is that. Now coming back to the Parsha's bow, which is Shemos chapter 10. Now Yahweh said to Musa, go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the hearts of his servants, that I may show these things of mine through him, that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son the mighty things I have done in Mitzrayim, and my signs which I have done among them, that you may know that I am Yahweh. Now, this is a question that I posed. Listen to this funny story. I had a pastor that come to my house, and he was giving me the jib about, New Testament stories and various gospel illustrations. And he's doing that. And I listened to him patiently first. And I was listening, where is this guy going with this? And then eventually, I asked him a question. I said, may I ask you a question? Since you're claimed to be, since you're allegedly knowledgeable about the New Testament. And of course, his knowledge was only regurgitated teachings that he heard and he'd memorized, and he's putting out verses and such and such. So, imagine you debating with Rabbi Simon, who actually translated the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and the Greek Bibles, including New Testament. And I'm sitting there, quite serious, and not laughing, not being, disrespectful to this man. And then this man said to me, so and such and such and such. And I said, okay, can I ask you a question? So sure. I said, why did God send Moses, to free the children of Israel? He could have sent anybody, but he sent Moses. I said, on top of that, my critical question is this: why did he harden Pharaoh's heart? Now, we're talking about Shemos chapter 10, the Parsha's bow. Bow means to come. I said, why did he do that? To come or to go? To come, basically. And I said, why did he do that? I said, surely, we're talking about God here, not about some, one man thing. I said, God can just do this, click his fingers, and he can free the whole of Israel. He could kill Pharaoh, he could take his life, he could, change events in Egypt in a second, and the children of Israel will be free. So I said, why did he do that? So this man, the pastor, he tried to answer my question. He tried, all different answers. And I said, no. Nothing that he was saying actually matched. So I said, no, this is not the answer. Eventually, his wife was sitting there, and his wife said to me, he said, clearly, my husband is not able to answer your question. He doesn't know. So why don't you tell him? And from Moses, I took him to the New Testament, and I posed a question from the New Testament, since he was, giving me this little jib about the New Testament. and he couldn't answer the question in the New Testament either. So, behind, I wasn't trying to laugh. I was very serious, but inside me, I was actually, smiling and thinking, you've chosen the wrong man for a debate. And anyhow, in the end, I had to explain to him why God had sent Moses and why God made Pharaoh's heart hardened. Now, here's clearly that it says in verse 2 of chapter 10 of the book of Exodus that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son the mighty things I have done in Egypt, in Mitzrayim. So think about this. Christians today, majority of the Christian world, don't even know what the heck is Passover. They don't know what the heck is Passover. They don't even do this. Are they telling their son? Are they telling their son's son that what the mighty things of God that Yahweh has done in the Bnei Israel, in the children of Israel's lives? Do you hear that from churches? I've never heard it. The only time, I've attended Passovers in churches, and they did like this little showcase thing where they, put 10 tables up, and, few Christians go there and they celebrate the shift Passover. They have, there are churches that do that in England. I've been to England in churches where they have done that, but I have not heard, even at that point, they did not have this telling of the story of Egypt and how the mighty things God did. And they did speak about, of course they spoke about the 10 plagues. They did the little demonstration of the 10 plagues, and they spoke about it. Okay, so, they kind of do it as a regurgitatory thing, not as a mighty thing. They don't do it because it's a requirement. They just do it because, hey, we're doing the Passover, we might get more people to turn up. And they do it from that point of view. But the Jews or children of Israel, the children of Israel, when we do it, we don't do it as a regurgitatory point. We do it as a point to remind our sons and our sons' sons, if we have them, of course, if our children are married and they have children, we remind their sons and daughters that, hey, this is what the God of Israel did. Listen, we don't just do this for, hey, God did this and end of story. Give praise, blah, 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 hallelujah, end of. No, we don't do that. When we do it, what do we do in our homes? We say, son and daughter, this is what God did. When our families were in slavery, of course, I'm not talking about my family because my family was never in slavery. Our family, when children of Israel, our tribes were in slavery, the God of Israel sent Moses, a Levite. He sent Aaron, a Levite, and they freed the children of Israel. And I remind them that we were never slaves. The families of Levites were never slaves, but the children of Israel, the other 12 tribes, had got themselves into a pickle. They had become slaves. And so God freed them. But why did God free them? Because God is a God of covenant. He was, bound to his covenant that he gave Abraham, his promises. He cannot go back on his promises. So I said, he cannot just break his promises. So what did God do? He said, I cannot break my promises. I must keep my promise. I'm not a man that I can lie like a man. I'm not a son of man that I can be like a son of man. By the way, these are verses from the Bible I'm quoting you, from the law. I'm quoting you from the book of Numbers. Chapter 23, verse 19, God is not a man that he should lie, not a son of man. So my point is this, that Yahweh made it very clear that my law is supreme. He wasn't talking about just an event in Egypt that happened. He was talking about the power behind his law that we must follow. And that will bring blessings in our life, redemption in our life, freedom in our life, wholesale goodness in our life, peace, fellowship, love, you name it, finances, everything it will bring in our life, as it did to the Israelites. So that is the message of Parsha's bow. Of all of that, the message is simply this, that if you follow the law, you will prosper in abundance. If you follow the law. Now, I'm not talking about the rabbinic law. The rabbinic law, a lot of the times, is what the Messiah spoke against. He spoke against a lot of the rabbinic law. Paul even wrote about it and spoke out against it. Because, what they call circumcision was part and parcel, not just a physical act, which is what God commanded, but there was attached to that 10, 15 commandments, which the rabbis commanded, which were not part of the Torah. So, Paul did write about that. Messiah spoke against it, and we are, not to keep the rabbinic law, because what does the rabbinic law do? It doesn't give us salvation. It's the bottom line. Salvation really comes only from the covenants that are in place. And so we don't keep the law because it's a burden, as Christians tell you. Oh, legal, oh, burden, oh, this, oh, that. No. We do it because it's a covenant, and it is a blessing, and it is a mercy unto us. That's why we do the law. I'm in Pakistan. Look, I'm in Pakistan. I wear my zitzits in my house. I put them inside when I go out. I don't show it to the people. I don't need to. Why would I show it to the people? I keep it to myself. And if there be permissible, or if there be an event where I needed to show it, I'll open out my zitzits. I'll take them out. So I'll take them out when I want to take them out. When I don't want to take them out, I don't take them out. So my point is the zitzits, Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38. What is it? For the sons of Israel. It's a reminder that we are to keep the commandments. 613 commandments that the rabbis have counted. Sometimes they count them as 601, sometimes as 613. So what's stuck is 613. That's fine. Not all 613 commandments are to be done, because many of the commandments are women's commandments. Many of them are for the priests. Many of them for the temple. Many of them for other things. So we only need to do what is pertaining to us. Sabbath is one commandment that pertains to all of us, so we can do it. The laws for the food laws, permissible meat, it pertains to us, we can do it. So everything in the Torah is good. That's what I wanted to demonstrate to you. Everything in the Torah is absolutely great, not just good. So hopefully next time I come around, I will be able to give you more. But I'm going to leave you with a little bit more, which is this. This is what I want to leave you with. The law of attraction is out there, as you know, and so is the perfect law. The perfect law being the Torah and the principles of the Torah that are repeated in the New Testament. I wanted to make sure that you understood, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. And for those of you who are not succeeding in manifesting your desires, you see, here is the problem. A lot of people look at the movie The Secret, and they think, that's it, I can do this and I can be anything I want, and it doesn't happen. Because The Secret, the movie that they made, the Australian lady who made it, the only problem with The Secret was nothing was explained properly. It was an overview of the law of attraction, which kind of took hold in the Western world, and then people just kind of, went from with buzzwords, vibration, other buzzwords, mood, frequency. All these buzzwords were thrown around, and they're still thrown around in the law of attraction teaches. If you go onto a YouTube video that teaches law of attraction, you'll find these buzzwords all over the place. They are actually not helpful because they don't work. Let me explain something to you. You will hear buzzwords like, your vibration needs to match the vibration of the universe. If your vibration don't match, you cannot manifest. You'll hear that. By the way, that statement is false. It's totally false. Yes, we do have a vibration. Yes, we do have a frequency. Vibration, frequency is the same thing. It's different words, buzzwords. And so, but you don't need to be on the same level. So the statement is false. And that statement is presented video after video after video on the internet. This is why you got to be careful of who you listen to. The problem is that you might be reading books and videos, looking at videos that use these buzzwords, and you don't get anywhere. Now, sometimes it's hit and miss. In other words, sometimes you get, sometimes you don't. And you know why you get? I'll explain to you why you get. Because they also talk about affirmations in the law of attraction. Affirmations are good. Affirmations work. So it may be the affirmations that are working for you. And you might be thinking, oh, vibration. My vibration matched with the universe and it worked. No, none of that. It was the affirmation that did the trick. So affirmations are good, provided they are written correctly. Provided they are written correctly. If you've written them wrong, they will backfire on you as well. So write them correctly in the present tense. Having said that, if you write them in the future tense, They will still work, but they'll take much, much longer to work. That experience I have, by the way, because I used to write my affirmations in the future tense. They still worked, but it took a long time for them to work. Years, not months, not weeks. But if you write the affirmation correctly in the present tense, they will work much faster. But even better than that, you see, these are the things that work for law of attraction. And then so people think that everything else works. Answer is everything else doesn't work in the law of attraction. So there are bits of it that line up and other bits just simply don't line up. So my suggestion to you is ask the question. I am here to help you. I'm from a Levite clan. I'm here to help you. And I can only help you if you ask. If you don't ask me, I cannot help you. Now let's speak about karma. Karma affects all of us. If our forefathers have committed sins, they've done wrong, they've done evil, they have not obeyed the law of God, they have, put it to one side and followed Gentile laws, then of course karma will come onto your children. And so somebody wrote into me this week asking about karma, and there is a shalom offering that we do. It's like a shalom offering is a peace offering that we present to God. It's like I said, it's an equivalence. And a shalom offering is usually a lamb, worth about $200 or more. And that is an offering that you give for your children. Rabbi Kefa knows it. I've talked about it before, and we all have done that for our children. Because you're going to do a $200 for your child and $100 for your daughter. Is half of what the son is. So if the son is 200, then the daughter is 100. You've got to give that to the Kohen in the gate, myself. You have to give it to me, the Kohen in the gate. I will thus stand and do the shalom offering equivalent for you before the God of Israel. In order for karma to not affect you, not to affect your children or the children's children, because you can stop it right at that point. Now you can read the story about karma in the book of Job, where Job's children were affected by karma, and the whole family was destroyed. So don't take it lightly, and don't take it as, another doctrine. This is not another doctrine. This is facts. Facts are provided in the Bible, but the Bible doesn't use the word karma. It uses different words. Sowing the seed says, what you sow, you will bear. You will reap. So if your forefathers have sown seeds of wickedness, then your wickedness your children will bear. So we have to stop that karma midpoint. We have to stop it, so it doesn't follow through the generations. When you hear about illnesses, when you hear about joblessness, when you hear about a person not having sufficient money, financial issues, all of that is related to karma. And so what we do is, when you have children, what people do is they speak to me and they send me an offering equivalence of a lamb, for a son, and for a daughter, like I said, is a half of that, 100, 200 for a son. And then I have to perform a prayer for that family using the father's name. So that way, that karma from the father's side is removed upon the children, and it stops. Then the next generation, or the generation after that, will not have the karma pursuing them. By the way, that's something that all of you need to consider. If you have children and you never perform this particular ritual, the karmic ritual, you need to think about it seriously, and you need to do it. Don't question what God has already illustrated. So I can do the shalom offering for you if you're interested. And other than that, I think all is good, all is well. Like I said, that don't just mindlessly follow after so-called law of attraction gurus, the things that they don't, things that you cannot manifest. If you've been trying for a year, let me just be very specific. If you've been trying something for a year and it hasn't come, then you got to question, are you doing it correctly? And that may be the problem at hand. Now, it is very important, and I said it many times, that when you write your affirmations work, but if written correctly. Write them correctly in the present tense. For your businesses, if you're business-minded, you like to do business, then put down an affirmation. I am extremely confident in all of my businesses, or I am a master of business. If you want to have a beautiful relationship with your wife, I have a beautiful, loving, wonderful relation with my wife. we love each other dearly. That would be a good statement. Let me repeat these statements again. For a business, if you want to be a business-minded person, I am a master of business. I am extremely confident in all of my businesses. I have a beautiful, loving relation with my wife. We love each other dearly. And if you are insecure, if you have security issues, like if you're a woman and you have security issues that maybe your husband will leave you for somebody else or something of that nature or vice versa, then you simply use this statement. I am loved and secure in all of my relations. I am loved and secure in all of my relations. Very, very important statements. These statements can change your life. They can absolutely change your life, and you can write them as well. You can write them in the morning. Now, this question comes up about lists and how to write lists. I will probably speak more about that next week. So, apologize if I'm not going to speak too much about it, but write the list and, follow through with previous lecture I explained about it and even one previous that. But next week, hopefully, I may go into the list a little bit more to explain the nuances, the nuances of the list. In the meantime, I like to thank you. I like to love you, my mishpacha, my family. You're my family. You're my brothers and sisters out there. You are the children of Israel, and anybody that joins onto us and becomes a children of Israel and becomes part of the progeny of Israel, I welcome you home. And until next time, Shabbat Shalom, 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 and over to Rabbi Kefa.